Well, this is chapter 49 of World's Longest Suicide Note. My name is Roger. I am the author of said note, and but I am not in any way, shape, or form a mental health or medical professional. And I'm going to talk about that a little bit because has struck me lately. And so today I got a hair in my mouth. I'm just a tad bit agitated. And I'll tell you why. As we get going here. There's always pushback when you're talking about such heavy topics, such as suicide, severe mental illness, that kind of thing. There's always some pushback, and as long as I've been trying to talk about it, there's equal enough opposing force of momentum to not talk about it, or to get kind of not litigious, but there's a real thought process in place that the more we talk about it, the more things are going to happen bad. It's going to give people ideas or whatever, and what that does is it just shuts down communication about it, and so nobody wants to hear it, and especially if you're not a professional. If you don't have letters after your name, nobody wants you to talk about suicide at all. Everyone's uncomfortable about it. So we can't have a random person talking about it. We need a professional. And even then, we're not really excited about the prospect of talking about it. And it's really discouraging, because I think everyone should talk about it. I think if literally every human being had a conversation about it with another human being, what would be the downside of that? We would have these massive conversations about something that is killing people around the world, cross borders. Every status and class of human being is killing themselves. And we just would rather not talk about it because it makes certain people uncomfortable, or there's a liability in talking about it, and it's discouraging to me, because people have a real, people like me who've lived it for a long time have some perspective, and we want it to change the way that we think and feel about suicide and talk about it, because it's important to talk about. I think we're in the stigma has developed. We're so afraid to do anything about it. And it's unfortunate because it's costing people. That mentality is costing people. And it's very, very discouraging when that happens. So anyway, I'm just going to kind of vent because I'm a fan of venting. That's the whole purpose of the vent, is that it reduces the pressure. So don't be afraid. Never be afraid to vent. I mean, that's your God-given right and obligation. It's not just you're right. You need to communicate. And part of the communication process is the negative stuff. You gotta get that stuff out. So this is just going to be words. This is just going to be about me venting a little bit about what I'm experiencing, which is really this whole channel is about my experiences. So it's just frustrating because I really think that this is an important thing that has to happen for us to move forward and into a much more healthy and aligned community. We got to deal with the hard things. There was a movie, and it was a crappy movie. I don't even know. You ever watch a movie and you wonder why you sat through it? Because why didn't you just walk out? Or you paid money and you got popcorn. And it's like I don't really want to walk out, but this movie sucks. Yeah. Anyway, this movie I watched one time. It was called The Beach, and honestly, I love the title. I'm a beach person, and I mean it was in a nice beach, so that was like this secluded beach where not a lot of people. Oh gosh, that'd be awesome. Anyway, but it was about a society that, the utopian society where self-governed and it's kind of a commentary on how really we can't as humans have nice things or live in nice places without being total dicks to one another. But this movie, what happened is, apart from being like just a weird movie, and I don't recommend it. I'm telling you the best parts of it. So don't. I mean, if you want to watch it for just the beach was the best part of the whole thing. Yeah. But in this situation, you have this utopian kind of living arrangement for these people who didn't appreciate it, and that's kind of a common theme. Is that we get to a place where we don't appreciate what we have, especially like if we live on a beach, then all we complain about is the sand. But in this utopian society, someone got sick or someone got hurt. I think they were sick. I wasn't very much invested at that point in time, so forgive me. But what they did, instead of caring for the people who were, they banished them because they didn't want to deal with their pain and suffering. Because it kind of harshed the flow of the people. It's like, how can I enjoy this when somebody's like not having fun? And so they forced them to move to the inside of the island or whatever it was, just to get them out of, and then everyone kind of went on their way. And that's the correlation I'm drawing here. I mean, I feel like that's, me and a lot of my close friends and family. Well, not really family. My family's pretty. I'm the one in the family that's infected. Infected? Did I say infected? I meant to say affected. Infected. It's like society just wants us to go live in a tent away from people so they don't have to hear us talk about the things we talk about or be miserable when we're miserable or whatever it is. And that's very frustrating, to say the least. So yeah. But then I think, okay, well, hang on, just because I don't have letters after my name, I don't have a valid perspective on this. I mean, honestly, what makes an expert an expert? And really, what is the criteria that makes people say, oh, well, coming from you, that makes it, that makes sense, or that because obviously you're an expert. And now I'm not in any way trying to explain how I'm an expert at this, but and how my I'm trying to validate my experience in a way that others may see a value in that. Because if you're looking at, okay, an expert is somebody who has spent, obviously Malcolm Gladwell's devotees would say, the 10,000 hour rule is a good guideline for someone, someone who's spent 10,000 hours doing something would be an expert. If we were looking at, there is no actual definition. I mean, there is a definition of what the expert is, but there's no real classification as to what gives them the right to use that title. So, I mean, but because if you look at the 10,000 hour rule, I mean, honestly, I've had 25 years plus of experience now, but I mean, honestly, 25 years doesn't mean you're suicidal all the time, right? Well, 25 years equals over 9,000 hours. No, 9,000 days. I'm not an expert at that. 9,000 days. So 9,000 some odd days. All right. So for me to be an expert in this field, I would have had to have dealt with that every day for an hour and 5 minutes. Roughly. Hour and 5 minutes. Now, have I felt suicidal or every day for an hour? No, not at all. But have there been days where I have during my waking hours, like every hour? Sure. So I don't think it's a far stretch for me to say I have way in excess of 10,000 hours of experience. Now, others will say counter with, well, that's experience with you, not with anyone else. And I'll say, well, you're right to a degree that most of that is purely my experience, but I have also done, been around other folks who are going through that. Not that I've managed care or anything other than just advocated for them to self-advocate, but I've been around that, and those hours count too. If we're getting kind of nitpicky. At the end of the day, I don't want to consider, I'm not going to put it on a business card, is a self-proclaimed expert at this. That's not my rhetorical goal. But at the same time, I feel like with that pedigree, if you will, that does entitle me to share my experience in a way that should be valid. It should be a valid perspective. And obviously everyone should feel like their perspective has some validity to it. especially when the numbers are there. So yeah, I just, if no one's going to be asking the questions and hosting the conversations that I find important, and um, um, there was a word I was going to use, but then I started thinking of something else because I thought of a word that reminded me of something else, and that's where my mind was going. Yeah, all this stuff, but it frustrates me because I feel wholeheartedly that we should be talking about this at the highest levels. Again, this is the territory where we could make the most in all of medicine, in all of mental health and physical health. This is the one area where everything that we do could save lives. And I'm not saying that I'm part of that. Well, I'm part of that community that helps save lives. But what I'm saying is why aren't we doing more? Because to affect the choices that people are making in this regards. Instead, we're doing the opposite of encouraging people to share their experiences. We're actively shutting down the people with who are trying to voice what they're feeling and thinking and are trying to impact how other people do that, and so it's frustration. I'm just dealing with that, and that's something I feel like needs to stop. We need to allow people to speak openly and honestly about their experience. Everyone that I know who shares their stories, nobody's advocating for suicide. Nobody's on that bandwagon saying, yeah, go. We're all trying to stay here. We're all trying to do the best that we can and encourage others to do the same. This is not a community where we're actively promoting this for people. To the contrary. And so it just always surprises me when there's backlash or kickback for something that there shouldn't be, honestly. Yeah. So I think that's what time. Where are we at? Yeah, it's time. We've hit the golden moment where I need to shut up. And some of these, I'm sure it's like, yeah, it's time. Shut the pie hole. And the thing that I've decided though is that I'm not going to stop. I just can't. It's not something. I don't think I have that in me. Not that I haven't stopped other things before. Not that I've like I'm going to do this until I die. On everything. No, I just feel like this is such an important topic that that's life and death, that we need to have as many voices out there as we possibly can. So that's just how I feel about it, and I'm going to keep putting these out until they take my channel down. Which I don't know, that may happen, but if it happens, I'm going to find another way to deal with it, because I need it. This is something that's important for me. I get to feel like I'm at least have a voice and I'm saying something. So I'm gonna keep doing what I do. You keep doing what you do. Always keep fighting. Always keep looking for that bright spot on the horizon. And once you find it, set those sails and find that beach, but then don't be a dick. Yeah. All right. Take care. We'll see you in the next one.